Well, hello again everyone. It's a good day later and it seems like we've got a repair job on our hands, haven't we? Now I've posted up what's happened on various Facebook groups and also on the airbrush forum, and I've had quite a few suggestions, quite a few different opinions of how the clear coating should be done and perhaps also what I've done wrong. But I think from all that advice, what I've formulated as a plan is I'm going to go over the whole thing with 1,000 grit wet and dry, and then perhaps locally where these cracks are in a slightly coarser, maybe 800 grit, just very, very locally, trying to keep it just to the crack. And then I'm going to try and touch in the design with the airbrush, and it should be not too bad. I mean, you can see like this one follows the line of this darker, almost black area, as do these. So I can put some of these in just as black hairs. I've got a few little bits on the background. In particular, I've got this area here, so I'm going to have to be very careful to try and put something in there that doesn't show up too terribly. So that's the plan. And then of course we're going to have to decide on a strategy to clear coat it again. And I think the thing is to maybe do lighter layers, just a couple of lighter coats, and then maybe a heavy flood coat to finish. And it seems like the advice is perhaps to leave longer between them. It does say a maximum of 10 minutes on that tin. But yeah, the general advice seems to be to leave a bit longer. So we'll perhaps try that. So at this stage, we've got nothing much to lose. So let's go ahead and start that process. Well, there we go. I have patched that in as best I can. You could probably still pick up the odd little bit, but I think, again, I'm in danger of going a little bit too far. And I think if you didn't know that the damage had happened, you would perhaps struggle to pick up the odd little sign here and there. Anyway, let's give that a good chance to dry, and then we'll have another go at clear coating it. Right, well, we're back here again, and I'm going to give it a wipe over with the tack rag quickly, and then I'm going to give it a very light dust coat of same clear. We're going to stick with that clear, and yeah, I'm going to leave that for the full 7 minutes, perhaps a little bit longer, before I come back and do a light to medium coat, I think. Right, let's press on. Well, it's been slightly in excess of 7 minutes, and it's not showing any ill effects so far from our dust coat. So I'm going to proceed with a light to medium-ish coat. Well, it's slightly more than 10 minutes later, probably about more like 12-13 minutes later, and there's no ill signs as yet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a heavier coat over. Right folks, well it's actually about 15 minutes later now. I got caught up with some work stuff downstairs, but yeah, there's no more cracking yet. So I think fortune favours the brave. We're going to go now for a flood coat as the final coat, or at least a semi-flood coat. We maybe won't go too crazy, but I just want to get a nice coat flowing on there so we get a chance of a bit of gloss. Let's give it a shot. Well, it's a couple of hours later and this has started to dry off nicely. You can still see, if you get low down on it, you can perhaps see a little bit of unevenness where those cracks were. But generally, it's looking a lot better than it was. So I'm just going to flip it up, turn it round and put a quick flash of clear over the back. Well, it's a good 24 hours later. It's the next evening, and I'm going to polish this up a little bit. In the usual way, I'm going to go through the wet and dry papers from 1000 to 2500, then use the cut-in compound, and then finish off with some car polish. And then hopefully we'll have a pretty reasonable shine to it. Well, there we go. I reckon that's probably about as finished as it's going to get. There are a few imperfections. If you put the light to the side, you can see the remains of those little wrinkles. So I wouldn't say it was really 100% successful, but I do like the design of the dog. And I've had a couple of comments about the background. Some people like the background, some people don't like the background, but I think the background is reasonably faithful to the reference. So that's that really. So anyway, I'm going to pack this up now and send it off to Rosie's owner. I hope you've enjoyed following this. I did sort of film every step as a little bit of a project in a bit more detail than I usually do. It's probably the most challenging thing I've tried so far with the airbrush, so it's not surprising that I did have a few difficulties along the way. That clear coat that I tried, I am actually quite taken with that clear coat. I think that was entirely my fault. I got too distracted by that warning on the tin to recoat within 10 minutes. I think that's probably a mistake as far as airbrushing goes. You do need to leave it a bit longer, and I believe that's where that problem came in. That's all for now. If you enjoyed it, press like, subscribe if you want to see some more, and ring the bell to be notified when we upload something new.